I've lost audio. All right, I finally got you, Matt. All right, hey everybody. Thanks for joining us on this late night update. I'm meteorologist Leslie Hudson, the Chief Meteorologist at MyRadar, on this last remaining minutes of St. Patrick's Day 2021, the severe weather tornadic outbreak that the MyRadar team has been chasing all day for you today. I want to give a big shout out to meteorologist Mike Linden, as well as Damien McFarland, and to our buddy Matt Hyland, who's with me now, who have been in the studio all day. I am out of town, but wanted to give you an update on what's been going on for at least between now and the overnight. So we can tell some folks that you can take a step back and maybe take a little bit of a breather, but there are still several areas that we're very concerned about tonight and through the overnight. So you need to have at least a minimum of 2 ways to get your notifications. So the best way you can do that, you guys, is have a NOAA weather radio. You can buy those at Home Depot, any of those large box stores, Lowe's. You can get them at the grocery stores a lot of times, or even pharmacies. Those are the tried and true best way to let you know about notifications. And the second way is with your phone. Make sure that your phones are turned on and you've got your notifications turned on, that you don't have them in silent mode, or you're in a do not disturb mode or an airplane mode of some type, so you can get some of these critical warnings as they are issued from the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center. So there are several things that we want to jump into as we get into these next couple of minutes. So you see that we've got the MyRadar app over to my right here. So what we're going to talk about is the upper air pattern, because the ingredients that came together today were textbook to create this severe weather outbreak. So Matt, if you want to take that full, we're going to take a look at a couple of things here in the app, and then we'll get going with some of our graphics. So notice that little circular spinning there that's over the Midwest, and that's over just north of Arkansas. That is an upper level low that has been feeding the atmosphere for these storms. Now, this became negatively tilted, or meaning it turned towards the left or towards the west, and that creates the dynamics in the atmosphere that can create spin or rotation. So Matt, if you want to turn off the, or actually before you turn that off, you see how the, hang on one second, see how that, those orange banding there, this is the upper air pattern, by the way, about 18,000 feet up in the atmosphere. So see that southerly flow, that strong flow that's coming in off the Gulf of Mexico, that's just driving those storms very sharply towards the east. But ahead of that is some what we call cold damming or cold air damming. So there's colder air ahead of it. So we're getting this push in this yin and the yang between the warm air that's to the south and this cooler air that's to the east, that's creating the dynamics in the atmosphere that is creating all of this severe weather. And I'm going to show you that in some modeling in just a second. Okay, so Matt, go ahead and take off the upper air pattern, and we'll zoom into a couple of those storms, because there's been some changes. And if you just want to keep pinching in there to the southeast, that's really good, Matt. Just a little bit further down towards the south. There you go. You can stop right a little bit tighter. Yep, that's good. So you see how the storms are becoming more linear, or they're becoming more from the north to the south, except down by central Alabama, there's a little bit of what we call bow echoing feature, that bowing feature, and that indicates that there is wind shear in that line of storms. And so we're seeing possibly the transition of more of tornadic supercells into what could be more of a linear wind event. Now, that does not mean that we put our guard down, tornado threat is down or gone. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has a significant tornadic potential until 3 o'clock, a potentially dangerous situation. I was trying to think of the acronym, I apologize. So a PDS until 3 a.m. this morning, so or tomorrow morning. So there is still that threat for severe weather, but the presentation on radar of these particular storms is becoming more linear, more north to south. And that, again, could be some of the qualifying conditions that could create a better scenario, slightly better, you guys. This is still going to be a very dangerous situation for the next next several hours. So what we'll show you now is some of our video that we've been talking about and showing you all night long. Mike has been showing all the kinds of video that has been coming in with tornadoes on the ground. And we have some video from, of course, Aaron Jajak, who has just been killing it out in the field today. This was video in just north of Montgomery, Alabama. Check out all of that cloud to cloud and cloud to ground lightning on a severe warning storm. He has been up since the crack of dawn chasing this stuff and has done a phenomenal job. And again, an indication of still the incredible amount of energy left in the atmosphere. This was about 90 minutes ago. I think he shot this video. We also have some video out of Mississippi State from the campus there in Starkville, where they had some severe warning storms as well. Now, thankfully, most of Mississippi, not all, but most of Mississippi is under that imminent threat. There is still that southeastern fringe of the southern boot there of Mississippi still under the gun, and there is still a lot of weather in Alabama tonight as well. And then Georgia, you're next, and the Carolinas tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and switch back over to WSI, Matt, and we can take a look at the 5 radars that I have up. And again, another indication of some changes that we've seen here is that currently we are dealing with primarily severe thunderstorm warnings. So I'm going to zoom in to Alabama, where most of the nasty weather is right now. And you can see that there's multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. But that presentation that I was talking about, let me grab my pointer here. So see how I can probably illustrate this a little better. So they're kind of more linear like this, except for down here, we have what's called that little bow echo. It's not quite as defined on our radar, on the MyRadar app, but you can still kind of see that curvature there. So that would be what we call that bow echo that would indicate some of that rotation in the atmosphere. And there is a lot of lightning out there tonight as well. And there has been a lot of power outages. We're going to show you that in just a second. But I wanted to switch over to velocity mode real quick and show you what's going on here. There is a tornado warning. You can see that in that red polygon, and then again the yellows are the severe thunderstorm warnings, the green is the flash flooding concern. So we've got all kinds of issues going on here. Let me zoom into this, and I'm going to take the boxes off to see if we can see anything. Some of the signatures today I was watching were just incredible. Some of the debris signatures that we were seeing from some of those Alabama tornadoes. There was one that was in Selma in particular that created a fair amount of damage, and on the I've got to take this off, turn this layer off. But there was a significant debris signature that was highly evident in the reflectivity. So it was just a really scary thing to see. Okay, I'm going to save that. And then we're going to come back over here and I'm going to zoom back in. So give me 1 second. Let me load that back up. And we'll take a look at, it looks like we got a little bit weak rotation. Yeah, I can see that a little bit. So let me zoom in. But not any true couplets. So you might hear meteorologists talk about couplets where you'll see the red inside the green, but I do see some mid-level. Here we go, here's my pointer. So right in here, there's some mid-level rotation. This is probably, 30,000 feet up in the atmosphere, maybe a little bit lower, but I don't see a true couplet like we were seeing earlier today. But again, a tornado warning storm in this area. So please be careful between State Roads 231 and 280. And again, if you're in one of these tornado warning areas, you know what to do, or if you don't, let me remind you real quick, you need to head to one of those interior rooms, get away from windows, get into a bathroom if you can. If you have a bike helmet, put one of those on. I know it sounds silly, but that's a really smart way to protect your noggin there if you're going to unfortunately be a victim of flying debris, and get to that safe place until that threat has passed. So currently, when we take a look at the bigger picture here in terms of the storm reports, they are pretty impressive. So there has been over 150 storm reports that have come into the offices around the country, in particular in the southeastern states. And there has been over 20 reports of tornadoes. And Matt, if you want to take that full screen, so I grabbed something off the Storm Prediction Center's website, a JPEG that they had that was showing the trend of these storms. So take a look at that. So the red line is the tornadoes, the blue is the wind, and the green is the hail. So you'll see that sharp spike, and I think it's around 20 Z. So that equates to this afternoon, some late afternoon, and you can kind of see how it spikes up with some of the wind and hail spikes, but then we get a spike in the tornadoes, and then that kind of levels off. See over those last couple of runs. So this isn't current information. This was something I grabbed off the Storm Predictions website about 2 hours ago, maybe 90 minutes ago. But it shows that trend, you guys, of how everything was kind of status quo. We were getting some storms, we were getting some hail, and then the atmosphere just fired, and that's where we saw that sharp increase in those tornadoes. And then we saw a couple of waxing and waning moments there, and then another spike after that. So again, back to the WSI graphics, you can still see that there has been an incredible amount of hail. That's also been another big signature, as well as these tornadoes that have been, again, a tornado outbreak. There is no other way to quantify that. That is what this is, and that's what we've been dealing with. So we talk about the risk. You've heard an awful lot about this high risk. But some people may not understand that because some of the wording can be a little bit confusing from the Storm Prediction Center. So we've got a graphic here on a scale of 1 to 5. We also will talk about that we're at a 5 with the highest threat. Again, you probably already know that if you've been watching, but take a look at some of the info here from the Storm Prediction Center because it will kind of tell you the tale here. So widespread tornadoes, possible long-lived tornadoes. We have seen that already today. Very intense tornadoes. You know, we're going to have to wait from the National Weather Service to get the scope of some of these tornadoes. We've seen some incredible video that's already come out from several storm chasers that have shown large wedge tornadoes. We'll get the official size and scope of those tornadoes tomorrow, maybe the day after, but probably going to get some preliminary reports tomorrow. But again, tornado outbreak when you're at a 5 and significant widespread damage, which we have already seen. So the 30% you see there, by the way, so the Storm Prediction Center rates the percentage that you would get impacted by a storm. So that there is a 30% chance of the people that live in that magenta pink color in Alabama of a tornado passing by you within 25 miles. So that's a pretty significant number. Earlier today, we saw it as high as 45%, and that is incredibly high number. That's when we were seeing all those outbreaks in Mississippi and into parts of Alabama as well. But they backed off the number a bit, but still incredibly high at a 30% chance of a tornado bypassing you or getting near you within 25 miles in that disc in the magenta. But again, I tell you that because that just kind of underscores the severity of the situation that was ongoing today. Still ongoing for these next couple of hours, but don't get caught up in those colors. You know, don't say, okay, well, I'm in the yellow, so I'm out of the zone here. Not true. You know, we've already seen storms that were severe that were in Tennessee hours before the main line came through, and we'll see storms likely break off and separate from the main line that will affect parts of Georgia. So don't get caught up in what you are in the polygon. Yes, if you're in the red or the pink, you're at a higher risk. But that whole area that we're talking about really is at this enhanced risk for severe weather. So here's the loop. Again, this is going to take us through the last hour or so, and oh, my light just died, so sorry about that to you guys. But anyway, so you can see that, again, we're seeing some of these storms with some rotation, with some hail. And again, I'm getting a little bit more concerned about some of the wind event that this could become as we head through the overnight. And then the Atlanta area, big metropolitan cities, you know, the suburbs of Atlanta, early tomorrow morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, could really be dealing with some nasty weather. And is still dealing with this in the state of Alabama tonight for the next couple of hours. And again, we're not forgetting Louisiana. We're not forgetting Mississippi. Currently, most of that severe weather down in those two states is not at the severe level, but you have got some really intense storms nonetheless, for sure, in that area. We're primarily trying to focus on the biggest threat for the severe weather, and that's those areas that we're talking about tonight, which is the remainder of the state of Alabama and Georgia through the overnight and into the Carolinas after that. So here's our satellite composite. This takes that trend and slaps together all of the radar images and the cloud imagery over the last 24 hours. And you can see that imagery very clearly just pick up. I'm going to actually scrub that back so you can look at it one more time. So let's see here. All right, here we go. So here's, this will be starting from yesterday. I don't have the time. Let's see, what is the timestamp on that? I don't see it, but it should be about 24 hours ago. So, so you can see some of those storms starting to fire yesterday in Alabama and Mississippi. And then as we come together, you can start to see the low. Again, our focus there through Missouri and Arkansas, that upper level feature that gives the lift in the atmosphere that really created this nasty line of weather as that continues to push towards the east tonight. And then becoming more in that comma signature, more elongated like a big comma that again shows a little bit of a shift or a break in the line of this storm pattern. But again, we still have several more hours where that potential is pretty high for some dangerous weather. Okay, so I want to talk about dew points because this has really been interesting, dew points and temperatures. So when we're looking at severe weather, we're looking at many things, and I'm going to talk about helicity in just a second, but we're looking at temperature, right, in the atmosphere, in the upper levels and the lower levels of the atmosphere. So this is the current dew points right now live at 11:53. Time. Okay, I'm going to keep talking. I don't know if we're still live, but maybe we are. I don't hear him anymore. Let's see. Okay, we're back. Okay, sounds good. So again, I'm out of town, and so I'm at the mercy of the Wi-Fi that I have here. My light died, so again, we're just making it all work here with what we got. But anyway, so what I was talking about is the dew points have been going up, indicating that southerly flow that we've been dealing with for the last couple of hours, and that those dew points are going to continue to go up. And let me draw it right here like this, and I've got the wrong color, but I'm just going to do it because I'm afraid the Wi-Fi might not behave. So I'm going to try and pick up the pace here a little bit. So we're getting that southerly flow, and that those dew points are going to continue to go up tonight in the Atlanta area and into the Carolinas. Why do we care? Destabilize the atmosphere. Higher the dew points, higher humidity, the more buoyancy in the atmosphere, the more lift we can get, and therefore the more risk of severe weather. So notice that we've had temps behind this. Of course, there was blizzard warnings in the Texas Panhandle yesterday. It was such a wild, crazy day. It's been the last couple of days. But we're starting to see temperatures go up as well. So temperatures are going up into the 50s across parts of Georgia and into, well, not yet, but soon to be Georgia, Alabama, and into Mississippi and Louisiana. And again, that's going to be the trend as it pushes out that cooler air that's currently over the southeast, or at least in those states. That's going to help more destabilization in the atmosphere. So that's why we still think there is the potential, because again, we're getting southerly flow, we're getting an increase in moisture, increase in instability that still could foster some of these storms. So here's the future cast as of 11:30. So this was, a little bit old. And again, this is a model. This is, I believe I have the HRR, the HER model, which is high resolution, 3 kilometer. It's really, really does a good job. This is clearly a little bit overdone, but not by much. I think it does a pretty good job here. So see how some of the main parent line of storms kind of breaks apart, and a part of that when it goes to North Georgia, the other main line stays to Alabama. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking. He says the internet's going out. And again, I apologize, you guys. There is not a thing I can do about it, unfortunately. But hopefully it'll come back. And can you hear me, Matt, or you just can't hear or see me? If you can let me know. Okay, so we're going to keep going. So take a look at Futurecast by Thursday. So look at that mess up in the Delmarva in the Northeast. So this is not going to be a severe event for those guys, but you've got some pretty bad weather coming your way too. So this will not just be a southeastern event. This is where the bulk of the severe weather is by far and away, but this will be a weather event that we will be talking about well into the rest of the week. All right, power outages. So let me show you, actually, Matt, before I show this, let's jump to the current power outage map from the poweroutage.us website. So we've been tracking the power outages across the southeastern states. And of course, we would expect to see a spike through Louisiana, Mississippi, and into Alabama. These numbers were as of within about 30 minutes ago, so they're not live, but they're close. But you can see that we've had a significant impact there with over 12,000 people without power in Alabama, about 13,000 or so in Mississippi currently, and Louisiana has about 15,000 without power. A lot of that's been down trees. There's a ton of trees in the southeast, so there has been a lot of problems with that. And then Matt, if you want to go ahead and take WSI again, we'll show you the potential for those power outages through tonight, which again will be concentrated in Alabama, shifting into Georgia, and then we see a spike over in the Carolinas. I'm going to show you some modeling here coming up in a second why we think that is. So real quick, here's a look at that tornado risk. I've been showing this map this season that we are right in that area of red in the month of March. That is almost what we saw today, textbook-wise, in terms of the enhanced risk. So this is based on climatology records, based on prior severe weather seasons, the modeling data, or not modeling, this is all climatology stuff, but with the National Weather Service keeps tallies of all the tornadoes that have touched the ground through the 12 months of a calendar year, spits it all together into a supercomputer and spits out every month. So, but for the month of March, this is an area that we see for favorite area of tornadic outbreaks, and absolutely this is what we have seen tonight, and potentially into tomorrow. We're going to see that shift into the Carolinas. Okay, so here's some of the modeling. So I'm going to preface this. I'm going to show you about 4 models showing you all kinds of fancy stuff. What I don't want you to do is focus in on, okay, I see that pink blob over parts of, over by the south of the Macon area, south of Atlanta. Don't say, okay, I'm getting hit. This is not telling you this is where you're going to get hit. This is a model that is going to show you the potential for tornadoes. And again, if the models do a good job, it lines up what we see live on the radar. And so far, we have seen this kind of verify. So I'm going to scrub this through, and we're going to kind of go through these. So significant tornado potential through parts of through parts of Alabama through tonight, right just south of the Birmingham area. We've already seen storms and tornadic storms over the Birmingham area. And then as we head through the overnight and into tomorrow, that shifts to the Atlanta area, those areas in orange. I'll scrub this a little bit faster, and then we'll go up and into the Carolinas and see there's kind of like a second surge there. Now remember, like I talked about the dew points and the temperatures, dew points and temperatures there are cooler right now, but they're going to be switching over tonight and into tomorrow. So that's going to destabilize the atmosphere and again create those ingredients, if you will, in our big mixing bowl in the atmosphere to create the severe weather. So supercell composite, again, this is taking a look at cross directional winds. It's taking a look at the spin in the atmosphere and putting together this composite of what could be what we call supercells, which of course are the type of thunderstorms that produce tornadoes. Again, another model just kind of uses different ingredients to kind of spit out the same information, but shows a couple of spikes there across parts of Georgia through the overnight and up into the Carolinas after that. And then I think my next one is helicity, and that's where I'm going to show you my fancy dancy. This is where I'm going to, so I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you a little example. So helicity, so that's rotation in the atmosphere with height. So when we get a wind shear. And what happens is you can see there's those couple of magenta spikes where there is an enhanced level of helicity, a better chance of spin in the atmosphere. So there's 2 types of wind shear. And Matt, I'm going to show you my remedial example here. So take a look at this roll of paper towels. So pretend that this is an upper air, that this is a parcel of air that's rotating in the atmosphere. And I'm going to do it like this so you can kind of see. So it's rotating in the atmosphere, but I'm going to, for for purposes that hopefully will make this easier to understand. So this is a column of rotating air. So the wind can rotate this way, and then we have another level of wind that can go like this. When we see shear that increases with height in the atmosphere, that can tilt our column of air like this, and it rotates like this, and that's what creates this spin in the atmosphere. And again, we've got winds going this way, and we also have winds going this way. So we get this cross-directional spin in the atmosphere, and that's what creates that spin. And then if it aligns up enough with the surface, we get a vortex or a column of a funnel cloud, and once that reaches the ground, it becomes a tornado. So it starts like this, we get spin in the atmosphere, and it tilts like this based on multiple factors, and then again becomes it's not perfectly like cylindrical like this, but you get the idea. So that's what that product was, the helicity map. So it shows the potential there for that spin in the atmosphere. So we see that second surge tomorrow in the Carolinas, but through the overnight, through big parts of Georgia. I think Atlanta maybe clears some of that parent line of storms through these next couple of hours, but then I think you guys get under the gun between 4 and 5 when that secondary line I was telling you about that kind of broke apart from the main line. I still think you could still see some really bad weather 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So don't put your guard down because I think that could be a potential risk for you guys. So the Storm Prediction Center for right now, actually, it is the 18th. So for today, at that moderate risk for the areas that include Raleigh, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, just south of the Atlanta area, in Georgia, and then we have the enhanced risk and the slight risk. So 10 million people at a moderate risk, 11 at an enhanced, and 13 million at a slight risk. So again, a large area, multiple states, millions of people possibly under the gun. I do think we're going to see a lot of wind damage when we take a look at all of this cumulatively over the last couple of days, but we're also going to be seeing a lot of rain. So that potential, the models have been kind of going back and forth on this, but there's a couple of spikes there where we could see 5 inches of rain, 3 to 5 inches up in the Midwest, kind of unrelated to the direct storm, the parent cluster of severe storms, but that upper level low, and then there's also a surface low that's also formed there. That's going to help enhance the rain chances. And then over into the Carolinas and the Delmarva, we could see up to another additional 3 to 5 inches of rain. So there is plenty of weather hazards to talk about. And here's the water vapor. I show this a lot in severe weather season. I'm sorry, in hurricane season, because it's such a great feature, but boy, doesn't that tell the picture. So let me grab my pointer here too, because you can see that this takes a snapshot of the mid-levels of the atmosphere. Like if you were looking down, like this is a periscope and you're looking down like this, it's showing you a snapshot of what's going on through the atmosphere. So where's my pointer? There it is. So there is our upper level low. And look at that spin. I mean, that is some serious spin in the atmosphere. And then we've got this drier air in training or coming in behind all of this robust buoyant air right in here, and that's where we're getting this big clash of weather that's been ongoing for these last several hours. And I think the pattern is a little bit different now. I think we're going to be transitioning over to straight line wind, hail, isolated tornadoes, but I'm hoping, and again, let's not put our guard down and think, okay, the event is over. But I do think that I'm seeing some things in the radar here, and there's the front, by the way, that's going to knock all this stuff out of here by Saturday. But let me go back up to the live radar real quick, because that was kind of that linear presentation, which is what I was thinking was showing a really good job of what's been going on. So a lot of times when I'm tracking severe weather or tracking hurricanes, I kind of throw out all those models and all the fancy stuff, and I just look at good old-fashioned radar, what's going on in the atmosphere right now, nowcasting we call it, and that shows you what's going on. Let me see if I can turn off lightning real quick, because it is a lot to look at there. And hang on, I have to turn it off manually here because there has been some kind of funkiness going on with this computer. So I have to do it like that. And then I can come back in here and hang on 1 second and we'll load it real quick. And I'll do a quick zoom in. And we'll go over here because I see, that main parent line that, again, that's already starting to separate from that main storm. I don't know if you guys can see that, or the main squall line. See how there's a delineation between the two? So here, again, our main cluster, main parent line, and then we're kind of seeing this break a bit from the main line. So this is going to be the main focus over these next couple of hours, this particular cluster, as it gets closer to Rome, Georgia. I think that's going to skirt north. This first line is going to skirt north of the Atlanta and the suburbs in Atlanta. But I do think Macon and down into Bainbridge, southern Georgia, you guys are going to get Albany. You're going to get the second line, and that's going to be the one that's going to hit between 4, 5, 6 this morning, right in here. So that's what you've got to keep an eye on. Again, keeping those weather radios on, keeping your MyRadar app open with notifications turned on, so you guys can be ready to roll. All right, I think that's going to do it. I think I'm going to end this because I know we've had some technical challenges today, and certainly I'm dealing with a broke light, and I got everything out I think I wanted to talk to you guys about. But I just know that I'll be taking over for the next couple of hours. Mike has been working the last couple of days while I've been out of town on vacation, so he's getting a well-deserved break. And so I will be back in the morning with Damien. He'll be driving the bus there for you, and I'll be talking about the weather. Hopefully it'll be a relatively quiet night, but do know that we're going to be keeping an eye on it. I'll have another update for you here that we'll get into the app and onto social within the next hour. And then, of course, Mike has the fast forecast that he'll have for you that will launch in about 3 hours, around 3 o'clock this morning. And then I'll start picking up coverage again tomorrow morning. So I want to thank you guys for sticking with us. It's late. I don't know how many people are watching, but if I can answer questions, I'll go and look at those. We really appreciate the support. Make sure that you like all of our channels. If you are not following all of our channels, we really would appreciate you to follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. We're also on Twitch. And we even have a TikTok channel app. We're even on there. I've put some TikTok videos, and I think we're going to be building that out over the next couple of weeks as well. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for our coverage for now. It is 12:08 Eastern Time in Florida. I am in North Florida currently at the moment, but again, we will keep an eye on the storms for you tonight. Hopefully, we're seeing some indications that we've seen a little bit of a break in the concentration of the most intense storms, but please remember we're under that PDS, particularly dangerous situation, until 3 o'clock this morning, unless that has dropped since we took the stream. I haven't checked, but the Storm Prediction Center had issued that until 3 o'clock this morning. So please stay vigilant in Georgia tonight, parts of, Alabama first tonight, then Georgia, and then the Carolinas. You all will be in the crosshairs of this tomorrow and into tomorrow night. And again, we'll be there for you for the duration. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for now. Thanks for staying with us. Stay safe, and we'll see you later.
absolutely necessary.